it wasn't going to be easy, but this was certainly a lot harder than I anticipated. Hello and welcome to the Infinite Inkwell, or welcome back to the Infinite Inkwell. I'm Lewis and I'm on a journey of discovering new ways of telling stories. I've been doing that most recently through a video game, or at least trying to do it through a video game. I've spent a fair bit of time looking at game engines, so I have one of those. Before that I was looking at my game design document and I now have one of those. Most recently I've done planning for it. In fact, my last video was all about how I was planning it. Now I haven't planned out absolutely everything. I intend to iterate the plan over time as I learn things and I think about different elements of it more, but I have a starting point. And today I'm going to talk about that starting point, which is actually the first task on my list, which is exploration and ideation for my first level. So I actually need to stop everything here because I'm going to interject. I am the editor, actually. This is an editor's note. So I actually originally filmed this all as one piece and found that it was too long. In fact, I think the rough cut was about 35 minutes, and even with a lot of editing, it was still about half an hour. So I've split this into two videos. This intro isn't actually quite right. The video today is about some of the challenges that I had when I first started looking in and a lot of the assumptions that I made when going into pixel art. The next video will actually be showcasing some of the stuff that I did do. Stick around for that one. That'll be next week. But yeah, hope you enjoy the video and maybe you can learn from some of my mistakes too. Now, believe it or not, this is not the first time I've recorded this video. I actually first recorded this yesterday. As I was going through it, reviewed what I had been doing and just the level of understanding that I thought I had of my own work. Realized that I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I felt more lost. I felt insanely lost in what I was doing and why I was doing it. So going away and refocusing on what I was doing was so helpful and really useful. I decided to go back to the drawing board and start afresh. But before I did that, I had mistakes to make. So this week I was actually off sick and have been pretty unwell for a good chunk of this week. So I have been just kind of on the sofa watching stuff and drawing. And drawing is of course quite a big part of my initial artwork exploration. So I've been doing that through some very basic drawings, and that started to make me think about level composition and what I wanted in my first level, which is the home. So that's where I started, and as I was still not quite all there yet, I thought, oh yeah, based on this I can start doing some pixel art. I can start doing some more detailed drawings for this. This should be easy. And there was a rather large assumption that it would be easy, and I found the exact opposite. So what do I mean by that? Well, I was thinking about how different elements would be. Oh yeah, I could just quickly sketch that out and just dump it in and it'll be fine. And very quickly I realized from just my drawings, I massively underestimated this. So just thinking about a wall of the home, I was like, okay, well there's going to be an external wall and an internal wall, right? Well, what's in the middle? If you're side on, you need to be considering what's the player going to see there. So I ended up thinking about it and start drawing stuff out and realized, oh yeah, this should be fine, and did some sketching in Aesprite. So I dumped it into a space which was the screen resolution that I was aiming for, and immediately realized that it was too small. It was both too small and too large. So for some reason I decided to have an almost 64 pixel wide wall which had almost no definition on either side and a huge chasm in the middle which I had not thought about, and I'm going to pop that on screen. I then went on to do the floor and realized, oh yeah, this should be easy, blah, blah, blah. Started doing it, and then I started to put it together in that same space and realized they looked ridiculous, and not just ridiculous, but they didn't look good. There was a lot of stuff that I'd missed and I made far too many assumptions going into this. So I stopped, and I think that's important. You should not feel uncomfortable in stopping if you feel like you're at your depth, and I definitely felt massively out of my depth. So I stopped, and stopping was important because it allowed me to go and think about what did I really want to achieve within the artwork? What did I want it to say? What did I want to be in this world? Now, my original sketches, whilst very simple, did include certain elements that I'd overlooked before. Kitchen has stuff in it. This room has stuff in it. It has furniture. I'm sitting on a chair at a desk. There's shelving. There's a bed on my right, there's a door on my left, and I hadn't considered any of these things when I started drawing. And as I was just doing basic stuff like the floor and the walls, I realized none of it could look good if I didn't understand more about pixel art. So this is where I took that time out and I started to watch. Now, many months ago, I got a video recommendation from YouTube, and it was to watch Brandon James Greer. It was his video on what size is pixel art. I don't know why YouTube recommended it to me. I guess I have a lot of video game content and have done for years. Not overly surprising that it would go, oh, you might find this interesting, and it put it in my feed. Now, I didn't watch it at the time, but what I did do was add it to my watch later, and this seemed like a good time to watch it. This was my I watched later opportunity. So I did, but I didn't just watch that one video. I watched a whole playlist of them, just going through different elements that you would need to consider when you're doing pixel art, things that he considers, things that I would not have necessarily looked at. I'd have gone, oh, that object is fine, I'm happy with it. But then I saw what he was doing in his videos and the way that he would use color to denote shadow and depth and things that I would not necessarily have taken into account initially. Things like reflective surfaces. Reflective surfaces are everywhere. It could be the shine on a screen or the reflective nature of a washing machine panel. So that little window into a washing machine is going to be reflective. You need to think about those things. You can make any object look reflective with certain elements that you inject. And I hadn't thought about that before. So while watching this content, I decided to start drawing. Only this time on my iPad. I've been using a tool called Aesprite, which is quite a lot like Aesprite actually, just for iPad. It allows me to use my Apple Pencil and just draw stuff out. One thing I will cover off real quick is size. And when it comes to a lot of the pixel art stuff that I was looking at, I realized that size does matter and scaling does matter. So if you're going to be playing this on a 4K screen, that's a lot of pixels. So what scales for that? Even if you're playing on a 1080 screen, I had to scale for that as well. And there are rules. There are rules around this. And I've been working on what is going to be the best ratio for me and how do I want to make sure that it scales correctly. I think I'm probably going to go with something between a Super Nintendo or the Super Famicom, depending on where you're based, screen size. So that screen size is 256 by 244 pixels. The other one that I'm also looking at is actually what was on the Sega Genesis, which was 360 by 224 as well. Reason for these is that I think given the amount of detail that I want to go into in the artwork, I quite like the retro aesthetic that that's going to give. And if it scales in the right way to the right sizes, I'll be quite happy with that. Personally, I'm probably leaning towards the Super Nintendo resolution. The Super Nintendo was one of the very first consoles that I fell in love with. It was where I really started to get into games. I think I was maybe 7 years old at the time, if not younger. So I'm really excited to kind of embrace some of that video game history in what I'm building. And I'm hoping it should scale okay. I want this to look really good on a Steam Deck, but also be able to scale for your PC monitor or your TV if you're using a Steam Deck with a dock or a ROG Ally or wherever you may be playing. I want this to feel and look good. Not Unreal Engine good, but a level of good that I'm comfortable with. So that's everything for this week. That's right, editor's back to do the roundup at the end. If you are starting to look at pixel art or making your own game, I would strongly recommend that you actually go away and do some research. You start watching what people are doing. Don't just jump into it like I did. It was a massive mistake and not one that I will be looking to repeat anytime soon. Even with other projects and other styles of art, I'm definitely going to go away and start testing and learning first before I just jump in. So don't make the same mistake as I did. So next week, the video will be about the things that I built in Aesprite and Resprite and adapting what I learned from the videos that I watched. The content was so good and really made me think about what I was doing and do it more practically and be sensible about these things and make the right choices. I definitely noticed that in some of my work, and particularly when I go over the walls and floors, you'll notice that almost immediately. Anyway, that was everything for this week. Thank you guys for continuing to engage in the comment section. I've been really enjoying talking to you and getting some of your feedback and input. It's been really valuable to me, so thank you so much. If you like this video, do hit the like button. It really helps me out and is really appreciated and incredibly nice of you. If you do want to come on the journey and you want to see what sprites and elements of my world that I'm going to be building next, hit subscribe. Come on the journey, see what stories I can tell. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.